All right, call this meeting to order. Stand for the pledge.
It was something.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Amendments to the agenda.
None for me tonight.
None for me.
No. Jeff? None. Okay. Okay, approval of minutes for January 12th first.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for January 12th as written.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Questions, additions, deletions?
I wasn't here, so I won't vote on it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? So we ought to actually change, that's right, you weren't here, were you? Says you were, so we should change.
Well, he was here for the 12th, the 14th was.
14th I wasn't.
Oh, okay, that makes sense, all right.
I'll make another
Yeah.
motion
All right, well,
for.
I'll say yes. I'll vote for it.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from January 14th as written.
A second?
Second it.
Thank you. You see anything they need to change? All those in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Those- Aye, I guess,
There were three of us here.
okay. All right, good to go. 5 minutes for public comment.
I'm gonna go quick.
Rod's on the phone.
Hey Rod,
How you doing?
got anything for public comment?
No, well, actually, yeah, Joe, you got a pencil and paper?
I sure do.
802-770-0702. That's the name of a welder who will be willing to look at the trailer, the town trailer.
Rod left a message last, I think it was last Friday, saying he's got a guy that does a lot of their specialty welding, and that maybe he can help us out with the trailer down at the barn.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? That's pretty much the public. Anybody?
Nope.
Department head reports. Aaron. Well, you tell us. You're the one's gonna be working.
The boys actually were out earlier, coming back here in just a little bit. Hopefully, we'll pick all this up and maybe it'll just peter off and we won't get any more. But as Carol said, there's freezing rain out there, and I didn't see that in one single report at all that I read on how this storm was going to progress. So they're still getting it wrong. Continue to have those little storms where you get an inch here, an inch there. Those storms we really hate due to the fact they cost us just as much money as, or cost as much in salt and stuff as a big storm where we can just go out and keep scraping. So still trying to be as conservative as we can and keep these roads safe. We've been out and hit an area of brush that needed to be trimmed back up on Green Road with the bitter cold that we've been in and out of recently. We haven't been out as much as we wanted to. We're still staying busy in the barn, keeping the trucks put together as best we can. On the highway end of it, I've been doing research on trailers and such. I've located 2 new ones in the area. One is down in Hoosick Falls. That's the closest one even available. Everyone else is talking, if you're looking to order a trailer of the size we're looking, you're talking the first one that's coming off a production is maybe February. All the other companies are talking June before we'd be able to see a trailer. In the used market, the ones that I have been eyeballing for a while, they're gone. We were researching again today, trying to find some used stuff out there. They're vary wildly from stuff that's cheap, but it's going to take a lot of effort and whatnot to get them back on the road, right up to almost that new price point anyway. The new one that's available down in Hoosick Falls, I got a sales quote from him for $12,000. It's a cam. The book's up there. It's a 20,000 pound capacity trailer. Our machine weighs 17,809 pounds or something like that operating weight. So there's still some room for, you know, heavier attachments or as such like that. That trailer lists at 14. He was advertising it at $13,000. He said for us, he would be able to go to 12. No fees or anything like that. We title it through the state, and that's between us and the state. He has nothing to do with that. So that's an option out there. I know, you know, Rod has that welder that I said before. I'm not as interested professionally at having that trailer touched up for us possibly to still have an issue down the road that we can't foresee. I know it needs other work besides that. We need a bunch of bearing work on it and tire work to get it back together. That thing has a total of 12 tires underneath of it, and they're spread out across the whole thing. There are individual wheels on each side of the beam that goes down through, so there's 6 individual axles underneath that machine that have one tire on each side of that axle underneath that thing, so it's a maintenance nightmare by the looks of it. I know, talking with Joe, there is some money. There's almost 70,000 in the equipment reserve, and we have the money that would be going in from the sale of the F-350 once that's completed. It's enough to cover that purchase price. The other thing I would pose and ask, if we were to look into getting a trailer at the same time allowing me up to $1,000 possibly to buy the proper chains and binders, as the ones we have now I don't believe are rated for that capacity machine. They've just been using them. So no, the only thing we've ever towed before and put on a trailer and tied down would be the skid steer. And they don't weigh the 18,000 pounds that excavator does.
What size chain is it?
I'm not sure exactly. I don't think it's, I can't imagine it's more than 3/8.
It's 3/8 chain, it'd be heavy.
Is it a grade?
That's all I ever had. When I used to move my big loaders, I had a 3/8 chain, and it was always, I'd gone through a lot of checks and they never gave me a problem.
I might be misspeaking too, but I would have to check that, but I would definitely ask the board's favor to, if we determine that they are not appropriate for what they're supposed to be able to use the funds to make sure we are appropriate, so we don't have an issue of any sorts.
You can buy chains a lot cheaper just by going through a Carver Freight or something. They're all chains that are, you know, certified. So I mean, I bought a box of chains. I think it was a 20-foot chain, and I think it was $85 for a 20-foot chain.
So I was looking at one thing. One of our vendors was a 20-foot of 1/2 inch. Grade 70 was 11,000 pounds working. Was $198 is what they wanted for it. So, and I know that 1/2 inch grade 70, of course, 11,000 is way more than enough when we start throwing more than one across it, of course. On the water side, they're continuing to do small projects around the plant, cleaning stuff, painting the areas here and there that they can do safely. Plant itself's running pretty well. The boys are, they do have the south tank telemetry back online, and they're able to monitor that accurately now. It did last week. It had a little issue inside of course, the electronics of it just the other day, where it hit an alarm because what they think happened is there's just a power loss for a split second at it, and the tank level went straight down and straight back up. It called them immediately. They said, you got low tank level. I looked back to the trend, like there's no way we could do that without us really knowing there's an issue. So they went through and had discussed it with the people that monitor that system, and they pushed that delay time out for the alarm so it doesn't see that just a spike straight up and down and make that phone call right away. They'll just pop up on their screen the next day, say, look at this, see what it did. So they're happy otherwise up there. Sewer department, Adam Street pump station is continuing to not fix itself, unfortunately. Talking with the operator today, they're used to going down there 4 times a month for miscellaneous issues with the controls. It's acting more and more like it's twice a week now that it calls them to come down and say, hey, what's going on with me? They had one last Thursday night where it called and reported a normal condition of some sort, like something, a sensor went from not being normal to normal, like a high wet well level or something like that. It called them and said, hey, this is now normal. They said, well, that's great. You never told me it was not normal to begin with, so that's not great. It called back and sent another set of, come check me. There was a high heat on one motor and a VFD fail. I got down there and it was showing that stuff, but the station itself was dead silent with no apparent reason for what was going on. They had to hard boot the controls by turning the power off to the whole control assembly, turning it back on like we do with our computers, and it all came back and operated like it was supposed to. So unfortunately, it still isn't fixing itself. I know I did the RFPs I had put together. I sent them out to A&E, Wayne Elliott, to overlook them just to make sure we're not missing anything. Still, he came back with a few points that we'll have to work back into the RFPs, and they'll be ready to go if we do move forward with the projects there. We reported a sewer backup on Furnace Street in the line. Went out, checked it, and the manhole was not flowing properly. We had A1 sewer and drain come out to flush that. At the same time, the guys went around and checked all our other normal hot spots that we have issues with, and one of the spots was starting to back up. So they were able to catch A1 while they were still here on Furnace Street to take care of that. So it wasn't, another week later, another phone call and another bill. So that'll be a continued practice, I believe, in the future, that we just push for that. Look, if we get a phone call on an area, let's check our hot spots and hit them while they're here, because they charge for half a day or a full day. So if they're coming out just to get one line back run, they might as well get it used for somewhere else if it needs it. So sewer plant itself is running fairly well. Sewer plant upgrade, the project, they have it tentatively scheduled to go out to bid sometime early February. So we are moving forward with that. We've got a pretty good pace. So I think that's all I have for now.
So is there a regular check of all those manholes? Is that a regular thing that happens anyways, or just when you have problems?
Usually we have problems, or like I say, A1's in the area, we know it, we can check it again. It's easier to do now that a lot of those manholes are now at grade instead of all buried underneath the asphalt. Right. So now it's a 5-minute pop the manhole look versus go get the compressor out, trap all of them open. So it's more of a, if we start hearing something from a resident or something like that, we can go check them pretty rapidly and get an idea of A1 needs to get out here sooner than later type deal.
Aaron, do we flush the sewer annually?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Once a year, A1's here for 5 days, 6 days, some years to try and get, and that's usually earlier fall. We try and get them all flushed out so that way in the middle of winter we don't have any issues when it's harder for the jet trucks. Of course, he's using water, and it's harder on everybody because it's just cold and miserable out.
Any questions for Aaron? Thanks.
Start with the police department like usual. The chief and his team have been out knocking on doors about these junk ordinance still. The 30-day notice for the trailer park is up, and that will the warnings will now move to just straight up tickets. They'll start to be fined. We meet with Jim Carroll, the lawyer, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. to discuss next steps. Adams Street, they have defaulted. They didn't respond to the ticket, so they've defaulted on the ticket, so they've lost that case. And from here, I guess we move forward to taking properties. It's a long road to hoe. It's not going to be this week or even next year, but unless people start cleaning up, we'll start doing some urban renewal. From my side, from Aaron's side, Eli Charlton, did I say that right? Eli Charlton will be our first, what do we call this, apprentice down at wastewater. He starts tomorrow. We met with Army Corps, talking about the salt shed now. We met with the Army Corps to talk about the salt shed and the entire barn rebuild up at the airport. They're not as helpful as the state environmental folk. They're requiring a full build out, a full sheet showing the entire build out, including what the stormwater is going to look like, what we're going to do with that. I have a few calls out to our engineer and to the funding agency, which is also the state, to see what the cost is going to be and how we're going to pay for it if we move forward. At the next meeting, I should have solid numbers to see what that's going to look like.
Why are these guys involved in this?
Because there's wetland.
They didn't bother with any of this when they built the National Guard thing up there.
Yep.
I mean, that went through with no problems whatsoever, and it's in the same area, the same place. You know,
Did they not do all those tests, all those things too?
no, they didn't go through anywhere near what they're going through for a salt shed in the town barn up there.
It's remarkable.
I mean, we had a barn there before, what difference is it?
So will they approve the salt shed by itself and not the time, I don't wanna hold that up cause we're not anywhere near,
Garage.
garage yet, so it doesn't seem,
No, it's a 10-year permit, and they told me that if the build out of the garage is very far beyond 10 years into the future, then we can talk about not. But 10 years seems like that's a pretty far horizon. I feel like we could probably hit that target.
yeah, probably.
I thought we had everything, all the permits were all done
That's what I
for the
thought
salt
too.
shed.
For the salt shed, yeah.
That's for the state side. It was when we met down at the DPW, the existing salt shed, and then when we talked to the state about moving it, yeah, it sounded like it was on the website and it was good to go, and here I am. So
And I missed which agency we're dealing with now.
it's the Army Corps. It's the Army Corps of Engineers.
Did we call them in?
Yes, I run this past Army Corps before we even started, and with no harm, no foul. But when they started asking, you know, what's the bigger build out plan, then they started getting into, well, now you're gonna have to permit more. Which, I mean, it's an either now or later kind of situation. It's not an if, it's a when at this point.
But right at the moment, I would say the salt shed's more important. I think we should get that done. I mean, if we got 10 years to fool around, we can always get another permit to put a barn up there. I think the salt shed's an important situation right now,
Oh, yeah.
and it should have been done.
Are they worried about the disturbance, the total site disturbance? So when you end up into the bigger project, you're over a certain acre threshold?
Yeah, well, we're trying to
By
keep
doing
it.
two small projects?
Yes, so the threshold is like 10,000 square feet. It's 1 acre, about. So,
Right,
yeah,
so if you just do each individual project a few years apart, it would be okay.
no. No, you can't, no, they got wise to that, Jeff. They look at all projects on the property. They even asked about the barracks up there, if that was part of this property. No, it's cumulative, it's not individuals. It's not individual units.
So they would hold up the salt shed because of
Well,
a dream?
Because of,
right, there's no plan today for the
Barn.
garage.
no.
Well, tell them we're gonna build it and tell them to pound sand.
Yeah.
Tell them to go build a dike in New Orleans and do something worthwhile
Yeah.
and leave us alone.
Yeah.
John Griffith in the pond with the Army Corps of
Yeah.
Engineering. That's what
I just don't wanna poke the dog with a dull stick and make it twice as hard for us to accomplish what we need to do with
I
it.
think the salt shed's very important, and I think the garage part should be taken right off this whole thing for right now, because there is no plan for a town barn. And we've gone through all the jumps, we've jumped through all the hoops and everything else to get the salt shed put up, to a point where we've gone up to see what it's gonna cost us. We've gone for funding, we've got everything in set for it, you know, and there's been nothing talked about a town barn. So, to me, the salt shed's the most important thing we can do. If they haven't given us trouble about where it is right now, they should be tickled to death that we're doing something different.
I tell you what, Jay, the pushback about because we're the good guys in the situation, right? We're saying we're gonna take all of our oily, salty trucks out of the flood zone.
Yeah, away from the river down, yeah.
Yeah, away from the river, and somehow it's like pulling teeth right now.
Well, I would go strictly for the salt shed right now and push for that as hard as you can and get the salt shed done.
What's the timeline if you do the whole project with the procedure they want you to do, Joe?
The time to build the shed or build everything?
No,
To get the permit approved.
to get the permit approved.
Oh,
Correct permits for everything on the wish list.
Right.
it's 5 or 6, well, normally 5 or 6 months from what their website says. COVID has slowed a lot of things down.
So that almost puts us out of the
Out
the
of the
building
building cycle, and another year goes by without a salt shed, and
and more.
this is the poster child for why they need Act 250 reform up in Montpelier. We need to get after our representatives
It
again.
doesn't have anything to do with Act
Well,
250.
we're trying to build, and it's just one barrier
Yeah, but
after another.
Yeah, but you're
Army Corps of
putting, it's
Engineering.
ridiculous to put Act 250 into this. It's the Army Corps of Engineers, it's feds. It doesn't have anything to do with Act 250.
And
No, it's A&R.
it still sounds like we've got the tail wagging the dog.
Well, I agree with you there, but it's just, it's not they're apple and oranges.
All they want you to do is spend more money for more studies and more engineers and the whole 9 yards. We ought to just go up and put the
Put
friggin'
the
thing
gun
up
on
ourselves
the
and have it over with.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of these state people and the Corps of Engineers, and you own the property and you can't even do nothing else with it. It's just ridiculous.
It's definitely a lot of bureaucracy, but we'll get there. We just have to dot our i's and cross our
But we
t's.
can't wait 5 months to start working on this salt shed. We can't do it because we're gonna be, I mean, not only that, but with a bigger salt shed, we can get a better price on salt because we're gonna be able to get more salt in there. And you know, this is ridiculous. You're trying to correct the right, and they're sitting here giving you all kinds of crap. Wonderful state, most anti-business state there is.
The feds, it's not the state.
Well,
The state's been cooperative.
I gotta agree with Bob. The state has been very friendly with us because they see that we're trying to do the right thing. So,
Then we need to get after the federal folks
yeah.
and get them,
Talk to your congressman, talk to your senators.
absolutely.
you have to go to the hospital, talk to him.
Yeah, I
Right.
heard that.
Maybe you won't come out.
Didn't mean to shoot the messenger. Go ahead.
No. It's
Someone I live with.
Aaron sat in on that meeting, and I'm sure he would say it's a frustrating process. Pet mayor's moving forward. We're not going to do the pet mayor at the actual voting site this year. The rec director, Nicole, said she would distribute the ballots and then bring the ballot box to each individual classroom. So that way we can still do the program, but
Well, that's who votes for him, is the kids, so I mean,
Yeah.
I think that'd be even better because I think there'd be more exposure for it,
So I spoke with Linda, Murphy's owner. She would like to pivot to a new project. She's really interested in building a dog park. From my understanding, I guess there's one in West Rutland.
Yeah,
Where it's
very
just-
nice one.
Yeah, and that's what she's envisioning. From the board, I would need just some kind of, just a tacit approval saying,
I got a couple quick questions though. Who's gonna clean it? Who's gonna keep it clean?
That's,
I mean, that's one of the problems they have. You see them in West Rutland, they're always bringing in either wood shavings or something all the time over there.
Right.
I mean, I think
Reach out
the
to-
dog park's a great idea, but people can go up to the airport and walk all over the place with their dog. You know, they go to the cemeteries and walk their dogs. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to shoot down this dog park, but I just think we should look at what we've got now and then look at what kind of maintenance there is to taking care of. The one in West Rutland, they had to build 2 of them. They had to separate because they couldn't have the big dogs with the little dogs.
Well, they usually are like that. They're usually, there's a small dog area and a big dog area.
I believe in the dog parks, because I think you go over to watch it, all them dogs running over there, and I think it's fantastic, but my concern is cleaning of the area. I mean, it's,
Well,
Can we have Linda check with the West, because I don't know if it's factual, but I've been told that the West Rutland Dog Park is a group of people, and they take care of the cleaning. It's not on the town to take care of the cleaning and the upkeep of it. It's the,
Really?
and we have quite a few people in town that take their dogs to the West Rutland Dog Park. If they had one here, they'd love to have one here. And the reason is because you put a fence out and you're not on the leash, you can feel comfortable letting them go loose, and there's different.
I don't have, I just saying it's gotta be.
you check
something
West
that goes-
Rutland and see what's going on?
See, I would just
Just in the
check to see
paper.
how,
It was, the West Rutland Dog Park article was just in the paper when Bill Coolig died,
yes.
who personally got it going and personally kept it,
Did
the
that?
upkeep on it,
Mhm.
according to the newspaper,
Hmm.
a couple weeks
I didn't
ago.
read that.
You'd almost have to hire somebody to go rake the place out,
Yeah.
keep it clean. I mean.
Well, it's supposed to be on the owners to keep all the
yeah,
waste
right,
and
the same
everything.
way they do in the park here.
Well, it's easy, they're self-policing because people don't wanna get blamed for that, so they're more than willing to rat people out.
But is she looking for, hey, you like the idea, go get more information? Because I'm good with that, but would want to know, I agree with Jay, there's some detail would like to know before we say, let's go. We're not ready to take and become dog park owners as a town.
yeah, the cleanup was, I mean, that's the first thing you think of. And, poor Joe Festa, that's who it would fall on. No doubt about it. He would be the guy that ends up cleaning up the dog mess.
But I'd
And he's
also,
already got a lot to do, that poor man.
I'd also recommend that you not only talk to West Rutland, but Wolfpack and Doggy Daycare and Castleton, they would have a vested, I'd want to talk with them because I bet they would also, might be helpful in how you pull that off and take the perpetual care, something that's there.
Hospital manages one too, I can look into that, and find out.
Well, they have one up on the property.
Yeah, a couple years ago, they opened one back in the hospital.
Yeah, but
All right, I will relay the message. We're not saying no, we're just saying let's learn a little bit more. Oh, the young man who donated the property on maintenance on Maple Street to the town, I reached out to him. Our lawyer suggested we have some kind of written agreement between the town and the gentleman donating the property, saying that the gentleman donating the property will, keep the maintenance up, keep the insurance on it. If anybody gets hurt, it's his responsibility. And he agreed to that. He said he'd have something drafted and sent over to us. Let me see. We met with the parade committee on Monday morning. We talked parade and Fairhaven Fridays, and I saw Fred Capron this morning. Everybody's kind of chomping at the bit wanting to do something this year. The parade committee was hoping they could just do a small, not like what we have in the park, but something that's COVID acceptable. People in their cars driving down the street, down through the neighborhoods, that kind of thing. Fairhaven Fridays, we were going to start the wine tasting. We're starting to plan that with the hopes we can hold it. If not, we can cancel it. But unless we start now, there will be no opportunity to have anything next year. And Mr. Capron was wondering what the board felt about having some concerts if they start concerts later in the year. Is there any?
Same as last year, right? I mean, yeah, we all want to.
Yeah.
As long as it's been cleared.
Oh, it's safe, yeah. And, you know, I was
Really up
thinking,
to us.
I was thinking about that the other day, and I was thinking, why couldn't we plan at least to do, well, it's still warm, you know, 2 or 3 in September and go through Columbus Day. You know, that's far enough out and it's still warm, the weather's warm enough, so even at night, you just be wearing a sweater. I mean, it's more realistic. I mean, hopefully things will be good by summer, but that's not a promise. I mean, see what he thinks about that. I mean,
That's a good idea, I think.
Maybe
From
Buy a
like
little
middle of
time.
August down through or something.
Yeah, you know, anything that's out that end.
'Cause I know one of his concerns, one of the things was like when the time changes. But I
It's
don't
dark.
think we'll be anywhere near that, would we, if we did it?
Halloween, right, it won't be, we should be done.
No.
Because that was the only concern, because it gets so dark and,
Yeah, but we may have lights in the park.
well, that's true, that's true. But,
You know, so you're right. I mean, it's darker.
yeah. So, I mean, I would say if we could do something like the middle of August and go down through August and September, even if you only get 6 in,
Yeah. I mean,
you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
that would be something. I mean, it's something that was missed. That was really missed last
Yeah,
year.
sure
and-
is.
And not just by townspeople, by
Oh,
a
no,
lot of
it's-
people in the
It
area.
draws people into town. I'm sure it's a great day for derbies.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, it just, we really should try to do, of course, we can't do anything unless they open things up.
Yep.
You know, and if maybe with these vaccines and stuff, maybe it'll slow everything down so they can do it, but.
And can we make sure that we don't sign an agreement like we had last year?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yes.
Someone's got to coach Fred on that.
Yeah. I'll see what I can do. Oh, speaking of lights in the park, Jim Heller, he's the municipal manager for that project as well as the park and ride project. And we negotiated the contractor down to an acceptable budget. They're actually a little below budget at this point, so they'll sign the contract, and that work will begin hopefully sometime in the next month. Not construction; they have to do all of their studies.
Of course.
Yeah.
Don't even talk about a study. Jesus, I'm telling you. People work in town all their lives and they have to go study to see where something is.
In case you're interested, there's some pictures here on the table. The state did appoint me as the executor on the Clark Estate at 12 South Main. DPW helped out, they secured the building, and we've started to clean that out and take inventory of the property with the intent of telling the court that we're just gonna sell it and get our tax money back. Any excess funds will be distributed to the family. I don't think there will be a lot of excess funds. On the horizon, there was some extra information on the table and then in your packets, just to give you a heads up. At the next meeting, we'll put the discussion of the sewer abatement on that agenda. And that's because we wanted to get this done before the warm weather came. So in the wintertime, surprisingly, there's no complaints that the meters are reading wrong all of a sudden. But I expect that to change as the weather gets warmer. The manager review was also in the...
Why did you say that?
Jinx. Sorry. My review, maybe not a good time to bring that up,
You're out of order.
is in there. And the voter's guide was on the table for the board to peruse. I'm hoping to get an approval at the next meeting for that one so we can send that out before the vote. And I think I talked long enough. I'm sure I did.
No communications that we need to hear about? Okay, old business pump station upgrade financing discussion.
So the, like Aaron talked about earlier, the pump stations are, it sounds like they're failing. The board on April 7th last year, reserved $60,000, to actually, for these projects. That $60,000 is not enough to complete the project, though, with the upgraded generator. It's gonna be closer to 100,000. I did reach out to USDA to talk about moving these two small projects into the larger project. And USDA said, yeah, you can do that. When I talked to Wayne, though, he said this, if we do take federal funding, it would double the cost of it. He recommended just doing it ourselves, is the long and short of that. So I did, to cover the funding shortfall, I did reach out to our bank, Community Bank, and they're willing to loan us the 45 here, but the funds to cover that upgrade.
What kind of rate?
2.5%.
What's the total of the project?
It's estimated to be about 100,000.
I just don't know where we're gonna keep getting all this money. Every time we turn around, we're trying to borrow 100,000 here, 200,000 there. I know things are bad, but I mean, come on, we gotta start doing something different here.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know, Bob, I really don't know, but my God, it seems like every time we come in here, we either want new equipment or we want something else that's gotta be done, and it's getting out of hand. We're a small town, we gotta do something different. And I understand the pump stations are very important and they have to be done. This one we have no choice on. But it's just, I'm just so tired of studies and money we gotta spend for no reason. We spend more money on a study than we do the project. And it's ridiculous.
So,
What was the rate? I didn't hear you.
2.5%, you're saying?
Yes.
Now, so are you looking for us to like make a motion or how, you're looking for authorization to go to borrow 40,000, up to $40,000 to go with what we have in order to fix the Adams Street? Is this, last time you talked about this, Aaron, you said there was another fix that needed to be done that cost about 10,000. Will this 100,000 take care of both of those and have it done?
So if I'm understanding right, it'd be the Adams Street and the Academy Street, and the Academy one was the one that said about 10.
Right.
In those engineer, Wayne's, review, I had those two separated for the possibility of if we had to, we could remove that one. And our goal for the project was that if we put all of it out to bid, we get a better price because they're coming in to do all that work. His recommendation was actually to tie those back together and make it one RFP for both stations, so that way we don't get a low bidder for one or a better bidder here and a better bidder there, and they're both different, and then we go back to it, and now they're both different equipment, now we're both different suppliers, we're fighting this guy over here and that guy over there. Now would be pull it back to one, put it all in that same package, but yes, it would be, that 10,000 would include.
Would take care of everything down there.
Right.
That has to be done.
Yep.
Is it definitely 100,000? Or is it?
That's estimated.
The loan here is for 45,000, 5,000 contingency. Which it's a line of credit, so if we don't use it, we don't pay for it.
What's the loan terms, the length?
5 years.
5 years.
What's that, say you do use the whole 40,000, say you put that on the, I don't know, what are you thinking, user rate or base rate, however you want to do it? What's that look like on the rate?
It'll definitely raise the rate.
Yeah, but how much?
Jeff, to be honest with you, I didn't run the rate change.
What I worry about, Jeff, on there is already because of the sewer bond, the base rate for sewer is gonna go up so much. If you wanna put that on there, we're going into the stratosphere on base rate for sewer.
I'm well aware, I just wanted to know what I was looking
Yeah,
at.
I just,
Where else would you put it?
I'd take a loan, I wouldn't put it in the base rate this year, when we get done, base rate's gonna be up, I think it's gonna be up over $40.
Where would you put it though? I mean, you gotta
I'd be
pay for it.
I'd be paying for it out of the general fund tax.
No, not the general fund,
Oh,
it's
fine.
water and sewer.
Then I would, whatever the water and sewer budget, but I'd be putting in the water and sewer budget. But it wouldn't be, it would be part of the
It'd
general
either
budget.
be, I mean, it either would be on the usage or the base rate. And
Again, it's another discussion we're gonna have when June comes around this year, but we already are totally out and too high on water and sewer. And if this is, we just can't continue to do that. I feel the same way,
No.
but we're just spending money we don't have.
So the 62 in the sewer sinking is what you're talking about, right?
It was, what,
That's the saved money?
yeah, there's 62 there, but the board approved 60 only for some reason.
Okay, but what's the sewer capital improvements? Is that entire 256 earmarked?
That money's going towards the waste to the plant upgrade, yes.
All of it, right?
Yes.
Which plant upgrade? The
The sewer plant upgrade.
Wastewater, to remain up with the bonds, right? Yeah.
The USDA tried to poach that $60,000 from that other account, and Wayne stepped in and said, no, there's gonna be things that break down in the future. So we reserved that
The
money.
only bad part, and I don't try to be smart when anybody's sitting on the board or not, but it's hard when there's only two people sitting on this board that are hooked to the sewer.
Right. That actually feel the pain of the sewer. It's easy to sit here and say, just add the base rate, add to the base rate.
You know,
No,
It's outrageous.
I'm not advocating to add to the base rate. I'm just asking what it would be.
that's,
No,
the
that's not what
problem,
I heard here, but I understand,
the
Jim.
problem is, that's where the financial
We can't
institutions
make
want
any
to see
decision
it.
without at least knowing the number.
Right.
No.
The problem is that's where the financial institutions want to see the money paid for, because it's consistent and constant, and it doesn't reflect on, you don't have the highs and lows of usage. The base rate is stable, solid, and that's why they ask for it that way, and that's,
I don't know why it was ever separated out.
So-
It's still the town stuff. It's all owned by
So
the town.
the alternative is to go back to Wayne and ask what we can do for 62,000.
Right, and we have 62,000. How do we fix what we can for 62,000?
Or 40,000 and save yourself a little bit of money for the next problem.
Well, the only thing of it is, from what I understand, listening to everybody talk about it, you can't go in to the Adams Street pump station and do part of it.
Right.
Because it's all of it's tied in to this whole thing.
the
Am I
bottom,
correct?
yeah, the bottom line is you could save 10,000 by not doing academy at this point.
Possibly, yes.
But, and
But
100,000 or 90,000, say, for Adam Street isn't set in stone, right? I mean, it could,
those are estimates so that when we come back from bidding, I don't have one, or bids out there that are well over 100,000 and I look like a fool. The 100,000 is that number will be it. We will not be higher.
Conservative.
Yes.
Conservative number, right now.
See, yeah, what also bothers me is when you start putting out what you feel it's gonna cost, they're gonna bid $100,000.
Right.
No matter how you look at it. I mean, if it's gonna cost them $60,000 to do the project, they're gonna bid $100,000.
Hopefully there's one hungry guy that bids 40.
Yeah,
I'm with you, Jeff.
we're lucky, we're always that lucky.
What universe are you in, Jeff?
Yeah.
I know, Jay. I know it doesn't work that way. I always hope.
I'm not
You
saying,
didn't get
it's gotta be done.
It's got, right, at the end of the day,
It's gotta be done.
I don't want my sewer base rate to go up, but we gotta fix it. So and it sounds like the best way to fix it and the most cost-effective way to fix it is to do both Adams Street and Academy,
I mean, that makes sense, that's.
and go out and all we ask is just get the lowest possible bid you can. Get the best deal you can. Yeah.
You just gotta, like I said, you can't go and do part of it.
No.
I mean, once you get in the Adams
Is
Street
it-
pump station, it's gotta be done, everything that's down there has to be done at the same time because of the fact you're gonna be working new stuff against old stuff, and the old stuff's gonna break anyways. So, and the electrical part of it is really that's the big part of it. And getting the two
In
pumps to
the-
work, right?
In this 100,000, are you still gonna have redundant pumps?
Yes.
Okay.
As of right now, Academy Street on a power failure would only run one pump. When we're done with
Single
the project, yeah, one pump. When we're done with the project, it'll be able to run both pumps to capacity. Two,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing to think about too. Some catastrophic failure, which we have had down there before, and the state comes in and fines you $40,000 or something. Yeah,
Yes.
So what do you need a
What do you
motion
need from
to
us?
give you the permit to,
Yeah, so from the Board of Selectmen, if the board wanted to move forward, I would need a motion to use $60,000 from the sewer sinking fund, and then approval to sign the line of credit, or have Bob, the chair, sign the line of credit document
for 45,000?
for
We,
$45,000.
we can't go out to bid first, Jeff?
Yeah, but we really should have the money, we should have access to the money.
well, we do have,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, that makes sense, I mean,
well, you can go out to, it doesn't
the
matter.
line of credit,
Yeah, you're not paying for the money until you take the
Use it.
money, and then you already have the cash in hand for the other batch, so.
Are you concerned that the interest rate will be higher if we don't sign the line of credit now?
can't get much lower.
Well, I would, see, that would be my concern too.
That's my, just a question.
I think we should authorize the fact that he can get the line of credit for 45,000. With the interest rate that we've got now, like he said, I know I had a line of credit for years and years and years, and if you didn't use it, you didn't pay nothing. But you always had that interest rate that stayed with it all the time you had your line of credit, so.
Well, shave that down to a motion, we'll get,
Yeah,
we'll move on.
Yeah, well, I'll make a motion that we authorize our town manager to go to the bank, I think it was Community Bank, for a line of credit of $45,000 toward the pump stations on Adams Street and, where's the other one?
Authorize the
Okay.
sinking fund.
And 60,000 out of the sinking fund, correct?
Yes.
Everybody understand?
The sewer sinking fund.
Sewer, yeah.
Sewer sinking,
I'll second that.
thank you. Any more discussion?
Let me,
Try to get a fixed interest rate.
It will be fixed.
It is fixed.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I got it. This is to use $60,000 from the sewer sinking fund and sign a line of credit for $45,000 at the community bank towards the pump stations and
Given,
Adams.
yeah, and given our town manager the authorization. Correct?
Authorization to,
To sign for it, or whatever.
oh,
Be in charge of it, let's put it that way, or whatever.
manager to sign, okay. Got
But
it.
you're
You probably ought to put the
still gonna
interest
go out
rate,
to bid for this and it'll
Yeah.
come back to the board.
right,
At the
right.
interest rate of 2.5.
Yeah, the bids will, yes, Jeff, once the bids are submitted and the contractors come back, then the board will see those.
Claire, you should mention the 2.5 interest. so-
Yeah, 2.5% interest for 5 years.
Yep. All right, everybody know, everybody know what we're doing?
Yes, we will.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Of course, we gave him permission to get this line of credit for 45,000. You'll probably drive in here with a new pickup tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah, nice.
won't get much.
I wanna get one of those Teslas, I love that thing.
Well, okay.
I think they're like 75.
The glass is breakable.
Is it?
All right, new business. Final water allocation permit for the brewery.
There you go. So Mr. Miggs from the new brewery has filed his final water sewer capacity allocation permit, and he did come in and pay that fee of $29. So from the board, we just need the board to approve this and then have the board chair sign.
I make a motion, we approve it, approve the water allocation permit for the brewery.
Second,
Second.
How much is it? How much of an allocation is it?
$29.
No, no, no.
Oh, what the allocation?
What the allocation actually is.
1,504 gallons. That's daily flow.
Yeah.
1,000 what?
504 gallons daily flow.
We've got it.
you know,
Yeah.
plenty of water and sewer capacity,
Yeah.
so.
Any usage would help.
Mm-hmm,
All those in favor?
aye,
All those opposed? Thank you. Ballots for March election.
Yes. Oh, you guys are right on time almost.
We can fix that.
So the state legislature did approve towns to mail ballots to all residents this year. And the Board of Selectmen does have that option.
And they're gonna pay for it, right?
And they'll pay for it. The only kind of hitch in that plan is, yeah, I talked to the school superintendent, and they're not mailing their ballots. So if the town mails, if we mail ours, then the residents will only get half the ballots, half the ballot. It seems kind of,
they don't get the whole bag.
yeah.
I'd be
I only have to
interested,
mail out
Oh, there's
to request.
right, so I'd be interested, Suzanne, what are your feelings on mailing out?
Town meeting is not a high vote time. They just don't vote. I mean, if we get 600, that's a good election. So right now, our checklist is at 1,900. That would be a lot of waste. Castleton isn't doing it, Hubbardton isn't doing it, none of the towns are going that route.
Because
I have a quick question. If we went that route, which I think I don't agree with it, but what would happen with the school? Would we still have to put the voting booths up for the school?
Oh, we have to
have to
the
anyways.
election
No matter what?
It's down there, yes, no matter what.
Okay, well,
Well, like for this last general election, ballots were mailed to everyone. Luckily, they sent us extra ballots because the number of people who threw their ballot away and walked into that door without a ballot, we could have been
well,
moving town.
I would think then we should just do our usual
Yeah, and people.
voting at the Legion on
And I would
Tuesday.
say, more encouragement on, come on, people, I'll mail you a ballot. Mail it back in. If the board would like, we can put postage on it, if it makes it easier for them.
Anyone
Just
that
to
wants,
get them to vote.
anyone that wants, can still request
Oh,
an
absolutely.
absentee ballot,
Yes,
so.
I have people
So there's
already.
no issue there, so.
No.
Okay.
Anybody who calls, they don't even have to write it, call me.
Would you rather have it the regular way?
Yes, well, it's because if we don't, when
You have to mail
when
it
the
to
state
everybody,
did it, they had the return envelopes addressed with everybody's names on it. They had it mailed out with everybody's names on it. That is something that we would manually have to do here. And we
I
have to
say we
start
vote
now.
on Tuesday.
Yeah, we voted Tuesday. you get the-
That's my vote.
So no, the board does not want to mail ballots. Okay.
Jeff, I haven't heard you weigh in yet.
That's fine.
Okay.
Makes sense what Suzanne's saying.
Okay,
Because they can still, if somebody wants some
Come in,
absentee
come
ballot,
in,
all they gotta do
call.
is call you.
They can get a ballot anytime.
Well,
That's my
and
vote.
my understanding is if I call in for an absentee ballot, you'll send me both. The
Oh,
other
yes.
way, I'm only gonna get half, and I'll still have to call in. And
Yes, when I mail
most
out
of
a
the people will
ballot.
know that
Mhm.
it's gonna be a mess.
It's certainly gonna be a lot of paperwork for you. Because
Yes.
you're gonna have everything coming back and forth and I say we do it the
Okay,
old fashioned way.
consensus of the board then.
you don't need a.
I don't need a motion on that, we're just, gonna do it the old fashioned way.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Interim financing for wastewater plant construction.
So this is the big note.
Thank you, Suzanne.
So the town, as we all know, the town voted the bond in to replace the wastewater, plant. As a part of this project, we need to get interim financing before the USDA bond kicks in at their low interest rate. They required us to go to a local lender, which is Community Bank again. The community is the only one that will lend us this much money. And take out interim financing for $3.72 million. This money will be paid off with the bond at a lower interest rate when that bond kicks in.
Is this also considered a line of credit? So we don't have to pay any interest on it until we get the money?
No. This is a straight up loan. It's a construction loan.
So we have to have this in place before we get, the rest of it gets started,
Yep.
correct?
What's the interest rate on that?
This one is, oh, I'm sorry, Jay, she did add it in there. It is a line of credit. As needed line of credit at 2% interest.
Okay.
Yeah, good. And with the way this will work with USDA is we have to burn through the loan, and then they start giving us the grant money. You don't get the grant money.
Well, the only reason why I'm asking to make sure it's a line of credit is because they're not gonna start construction. I mean, if we were to borrow this money today, we'd be paying interest on it if it wasn't a line of credit.
Right, yes.
And the only thing I wanna see is just make sure that we don't have to do that, that's all.
Yes.
Yeah.
So from the board, I would need either myself or Bob again to,
So you want a motion for that?
yes.
I'll make a motion to allow the town manager to sign the bond anticipation note for the preliminary term agreement for interim financing for the wastewater plant upgrade.
That's a lot.
That was
I'll
about to
second
say.
it.
Everybody understand what we're doing?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
I will never get used to that much money.
Well, it's just, like I said, we're just got done talking about how we wanna make sure we watch what we're doing, and this is, to me, this is good business, because we've got it in place for 2%.
Right.
And we don't have to pay anything until we start using the money, and if they don't start construction until even 2022, we still have the money, but we don't have to pay anything on it, and that's.
Right. It's, best of all worlds. Good.
Okay. Airport land lease discussion.
Yeah, so the folks that do the solar power projects around town, they approached the town again and asked, and this discussion in terms of acreage and any lease agreement should be in non-public, or executive session. But as a preliminary to start, I thought I'd ask the board if the board is interested in leasing 5 acres. And if they are, and then I can start pulling numbers and doing the process.
Well, how can they put anything up there if we can't put a salt shed? How can they build something?
Maybe they've
That's
got,
on-
maybe
that's on
they've got
them.
they've got an in with it, but all this
But
is
what I'm saying is, they've still gotta do a construction, they've still gotta do,
same
they've
thing.
gotta put bases in, they've gotta do all that stuff, so this building.
But that's, but what you're saying, we're not committing to actually doing anything, we're just committing to let's,
Yeah,
to the notion?
yeah, I know the airport is kind of a touchy subject for a lot of folks, and I didn't want to
I'm all for
just start
property.
spinning my wheels if
Revenue.
it's just gonna be shot down, so.
They're not interested at all in the landfill?
Oh. I will send them a picture and ask, and see if they're interested.
So that'd be more, that'd be a better place to do it.
That'd be
Sure would
in a
be.
heartbeat. I'd be
God
happy.
damn.
And there's a lot of land back there.
Yeah.
I
It's
will-
a clay cover. We're not doing anything that would hurt
And,
the permit that closed that. Plus the closing was 20 years ago, or at least 15.
and not only that, but there's been no movement in that place up there since, as far as any erosion or anything like that.
Right.
It's all solid.
You Yeah,
So
I'm all for just, I don't care where it goes, unless there's, I know when we start talking solar, there's this problem of a line that can handle the energy, so it's you're probably,
Well, down at the wastewater plant, there's probably more power than there is at.
Right. There's a three-phase right down.
Three-phase already there?
Three-phase run right through.
and that, I mean,
Right.
perfect, so.
That seems like the most
I
logical.
go along with Bob just suggested that you contact him about down at the dump, I guess, you wanna put it that way, and see if that would be, cause that would be a lot easier to sell than the airport,
Right.
I think.
But, oh, yeah, but if for some reason or other they couldn't do that, I wouldn't wanna shut the door on, out of that 134 acres, having 5 acres that you could actually bring some revenue into this town. So,
You know how I feel.
yeah, I know there's those who treat the airport as it's sacred, and I'm saying.
It is.
It's a piece of property we should be getting some revenue from, is where I made it real clear. All right,
I
so-
think we should rent it out to a farmer and grow all kinds of corn up there.
What,
At
long,
least,
long as we
well-
get some money from it, I'm game.
I'd be happier with that than something that permanent and ugly. But anyways, let's see what happens.
yeah,
You're back on the solar panels, I take it.
I'll reach out.
But Bob wants him to go, to have him come look at the area at the landfill.
Oh, yeah, I thought
We talked about that one time, yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Let's see what happens.
All right.
All right, highway certificate.
Yeah, so this is the annual, highway mileage certificate. No changes this year, as usual for me. And the board just needs to sign. There's not really a good space.
How many miles are we at now? 30 something?
Same, 36.405.
Do you need a motion
Yep.
to sign that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need a motion and then signatures.
I'll make a motion that we sign the highway certificate of miles, because there's been no change since last year.
Probably ought to say what the miles are in that motion.
And those total miles are 36.405.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye?
Those opposed? Anybody got anything in the, parking lot that's parking?
Just the job you're doing in the alley with the sand looks a lot better. I think it's, and I've been down through there after storms and I don't see any problem with anybody falling or anything like that, and there's no buildup. I mean, you've scraped it down, put some sand on it, and I think it's working fine.
Is any, had any discussions in-house about zoning regulation updates or anything
Oh,
like that?
yeah, I talked to both Phil and Dave Amy. Dave Amy's the chair, of that committee, and he's going to reach out to the committee and kind of bring them back together and start buttoning that up.
And on that one, at the last Rutland Regional Planning Commission meeting, I mentioned that we're looking at doing that because 3 other towns are doing their zoning regulation updates too. So I'll be trying to get some information from what's the latest and greatest that maybe we can pass on to our board that's looking at our zoning regulations.
Good. Okay. Anything else? If not, board roundtable.
Nothing.
The only thing I'd like to see you contact that gentleman that's the welder and let him look at the trailer. I mean, he deals in this stuff all the time. If he thinks it can be fixed, just get some kind of an estimate. I mean, if it's gonna be an outrageous estimate, you're better off to go new, but let's give this a chance first and see what the guy will do it for. I mean, this guy's professional, he knows what he's doing.
That's what the discussion was that I had with him, Jay.
Yeah.
He just wants to give an estimate
Yep.
and a timeline. If he says, yes, it can be fixed safely, what his timeline is to fix it.
Okay, that's what I think we should do. before we start, you know, let them take a look at it.
Yep.
Thank you, by the way, for doing that.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
I had someone contact me about, just today, as a matter of fact, about the garbage barrels down at the Cedar Grove Cemetery seem to be full and overflowing, and so that we don't get people just throwing stuff on the ground next to the barrel, if we could get those empty.
My apologies.
No, I didn't realize it was,
Actually,
I know they've been out paying their master, but it's probably not even to go down there and check that, cause
It's closed.
it's closed.
it's closed, you
Yeah.
wouldn't even think, that's what I said, you know, I thought the cemetery was closed, I
With
wouldn't
no
even think
snow,
about it.
there's probably still plenty of
empty
people
cans.
walking around there all day long, so,
Yeah,
yep, my apologies.
that's all I have.
Jeff?
All set, and I just wanted to give Aaron's guys a shout out. I went over Bigelow Hill the other day, it was beautiful.
Thank you.
Doing a good job.
I got nothing.
Just one quick thing, itty bitty committee decorated the
Valentine's.
gazebo again
Yeah.
for Valentine's Day, and, it's my understanding they got plans to do it for St. Patrick's Day also, so.
Yeah, wonderful, that's very nice.
Tell them they're gonna do it for St. David's Day too. There's a lot of Welshmen around.
That's
there.
right.
That's March 1st.
It's red.
Well, it's red now, so.
No, I know, just keep it. I got a couple flags if they wanna borrow one.
The itty bitty committee.
The IBC, we call them the IBC, the
IBC.
Itty Bitty Committee.
And they're still, speaking of that, I meant to mention, we were talking about the lights. They're still involved in design and all that stuff. Okay.
Oh, yes.
They're very excited. They also left the white lights around the gazebo there, so if they wanted to use them for the concerts or anything, if they wanna just put them back on, all I gotta do is plug them back in.
Or,
And I left the extension cords that we got. Did you get them? I left them in Suzanne's office.
I didn't, but, I had somebody ask me about those today.
Yeah, they're in Suzanne's office because that's where I took them to.
mention the person you know on the itty bitty committee that's kinda like trailer trash, leaving your Christmas lights on all the time.
We're better off not to talk about that.
Okay, maybe I'll mention it the next.
mention that, will you?
I'm reminded of Mrs. Christian who went to take her Christmas wreath off the front door, and there was a bird's nest in it, so she left it all summer.
And if anybody has a Christmas tree, a real Christmas tree, let me know. I'll come pick it up.
You got goats?
No, we're gonna have our ceremony again.
Oh, that's a great thing. I look forward to that every Memorial Day. All right, financial reports.
The checkbook, $36,070.99.
That's only quite it right down.
General fund warrant, $78,586.58.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
And motion to pay the payroll warrant, $27,194.95.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Jeff,
Yep,
the checkbook was, you kind of broke up, was it 36,017.99?
186.
See, I'm glad I asked.
.99.
Thank you.
Okay. One more very important thing.
Make a motion.
I'll second the motion to adjourn.